Hi guys, this is Drew. Nomi is here with me too, and we're making napkin rings this week. For this, you're gonna want some clay. You're gonna want something to cover your table, like a canvas. You're gonna want some kind of scoring tool, like a fork. I'm gonna be using a thumbtack. I don't think a thumbtack is actually gonna work that well, just because it's so short. I would use a nail instead if you have it, but if not, a thumbtack is fine. You're gonna want something for texture, so I'm gonna use an IKEA fake plant. But you can also use like burlap or lace, some kind of fabric, or even a real plant instead of a fake plant would be fine. If you have a heat gun or a hair dryer, that'll come in really handy. Hair dryer will work just as good as a heat gun. If not, you're okay. And you'll also want to have like a toilet paper roll or like a paper towel roll, just like this. Paper towel roll will work really well if you want to make like a lot of these at once, but a toilet paper roll is just fine too. You might also want something to roll out your piece with. So to make these, we're going to be rolling out long coils and then kind of flattening them out. So a rolling pin, I'm just going to use a Hydro Flask for mine, but a wine bottle would work good, or like a vinegar bottle, or any kind of like kitchen bottle, or if you don't have like a rolling pin is fine. So we're going to have, starting with a chunk of clay like this, start to roll it out into a coil. So you can roll it. I usually like to start my coils off in my hand, so just rolling back and forth, and then moving to the table. You can kind of squeeze it a little bit if it starts to get out of shape, and just roll it back and forth. You want to use your entire length of your hand when you're rolling out your coils, right? You don't want to just use like your fingers or your palm, use your whole hand, and don't press down against the table, just roll back and forth. Leave your coil pretty thick, because we're going to be flattening it out. So when we do get to this right kind of thickness, take your whatever you're using to roll it out and just flatten it really gently. You don't want to really make it totally flat, because then it's a little more likely to crack and warp. Flip it back and forth to get both sides nice and even. And you can kind of smooth and shape it. So I'm kind of tapping the edges against the table to kind of square them a little bit and even them. You could also take a straight edge, like a ruler or just a piece of paper, and using like your, whatever you're using as a needle tool, so your pin or your nail, and cut your edges that way. You are also for this gonna want, you might want some kind of texture for this. Some kind of like fabric would be great, like burlap or lace. I'm actually going to use this fake IKEA plant. A real plant would also work just fine. And you can kind of lay this into your surface. You could also take some kind of carving tool, like whatever you're using for your needle tool, and carve patterns and designs into it. You could lay your texture into it like this. You could poke holes in it to let, you know, maybe like some light pass through later. I kind of did that for this one. I just used a drill bit for that. Works totally fine. And then we're gonna just roll it up. So we can flip it over. You can kind of measure out how much length you need and trim it down, making sure that you keep your pattern on the outside. And you can kind of trim up your edges too. I'm gonna make curved ends right here. You could point your ends or flatten them. This is where something a little bit longer than a thumbtack would be great. It's like a nail would probably work better for this. It would work totally fine. And I'm gonna just keep kind of smoothing this out. If you have like a lot of these toilet paper rolls, you can make a few at once. If you have like a longer paper towel roll, that would be good. I know these are kind of hard to come by right now. It's a pretty hot commodity. So if you only have one, you can make it work totally fine. I'm gonna unwrap one that I made earlier, but just so you can kind of see, like you could make a whole set of these on one roll, right? So now that we have, you know, if I had made 2 of these already, take my paper towel and start to just roll it up. Take your water and kind of score the underside of one and the outside of the other where it's going to connect, and just roll them up. Now, if you have a few of these cardboard rolls. You can just leave it on here. If you only have one and you want to just keep the momentum going, like just keep working, cranking these out, you can use a hair dryer or a heat gun. To dry it a little more quickly. And then once it's dry, you can just kind of pop it off. Even if it's not that dry, it's still, you know, it's okay to pop it off a little bit early. It won't collapse, and you can kind of help it shape it up that way. All of these textures that you have right here, you can inlay with underglaze after they're bisque fired, and it'll really pop. Just like a light wash of color will really highlight these. And that's about it. Thank you guys.